breathe purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors? Now, time for the most in-depth look at the world of ECU athletics. Welcome in to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Now, here's your host, Stephen Igo.
All right, welcome into the show, Hoist the Colors, on a Tuesday, January 21st. The college football season has sadly come to an end. There will be no more games for 215 days that count. Man, that makes me want to cry. But at least we got a decent national championship game last night. We'll get into that and more. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and X. If you got a question, a comment, a concern, drop it there. We'll get to it throughout today's show. I'm sure we'll have our Ohio State fan Shores in the chat here shortly bragging about his championship. Congratulations to all the Ohio State fans out there if you are a real Ohio State fan. Let's introduce today's cast. We've got in studio Brady Thomas, Hoist the Colors contributor / intern, wearing his brand new Hoist the Colors sweatshirt. How's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good. How's it feel to be back in class?
Your
last semester, man.
Yeah, last semester. It feels good getting in the groove of things and kind of missing all the football stuff. So it feels like my weeks are dead with just class now.
Just class and ECU hoops, man.
Yep.
That's the life. Philip Pilkington's behind the glass. Philip, how's it going?
I'm great. I'm just going to give a little advice here to Brady. Be careful what you wish for because you're going to blink and we will be in basketball and baseball season at the same time, and you'll be loaning for the days of football season because it'll make football look like a cakewalk.
Yeah, Guess I gotta cherish some of the time off I have now because
exactly.
I heard the baseball season, the weekends are packed. So
baseball's a grind, and look, we've got a handful of interns. I'm going to put y'all to work this spring. Yep. There's a lot of home games, and there's a lot of travelable. I don't think that's a word, but I'm making it a word. A lot of travelable road games that you guys will be getting in your car and going to cover with press boxes that aren't as nice as ECU and that they don't serve food. So. Enjoy that. By the way, we are going to start a new baseball segment that we were supposed to start tomorrow. Philip reminded me, or yesterday. The look at the roster, we're going to do that later in the show. We're going to go through at least one player every day. We got to do two today because we got some catching up to do. So we can learn this roster. I think there's 31 new players. We got a lot of learning to do. ECU baseball season less than a month away.
Wait, are we just doing new players, or are we just going through the roster?
We're doing everybody.
Okay. Good, because I'll be honest with you. I started doing a little homework. I know about Keenan Bowman. I know about Dixon Williams, and I looked at the kid who's number 2, and I was like, oh, crap. I need to do some research on this guy. I don't have a clue.
The good news is
I'm not going to lie.
Today we are just doing Keenan Bowman and Dixon Williams. So you can wait till tomorrow to do your Roger Vergara research. How about that?
That just sounds like a baseball player name.
Roger Vergara. It sounds like a good baseball player. When I saw him in the spring, he did pretty good. Lane Smith says, "Thank God, baseball talk." Yeah, Lane. We'll talk about your Eagles too at some point, I'm sure. Because Brady's Dallas Cowboys are not an NFC East team in the NFC Championship. We'll get to that. How about last night's championship game, guys? I went to my friend Ronnie Woodward, used to work for the Daily Reflector, his house. Watched the game with some buddies. And it looked like it was about to be an absolute snooze fest. And I'm going to be honest, the game turned into me just betting on like $5 on every drive, so I had some level of interest. I hit a bet early in the game that won me some money. So I'm like, you know what? To stay invested in this game, I'm going to start laying down some next drive bets. And I basically did that the rest of the game. At least Notre Dame did make a game of it, but Ohio State wins 34-23. Notre Dame opens the game with an 18-play drive. Now, I admittedly saw none of this. I was putting my 3-year-old to bed. I got in the car, the drive to Ronnie's house, and the first quarter was over by the time I got to Ronnie's, and that was like Ohio State hadn't even scored yet because they were on the end of their first possession. So, it kind of started how Notre Dame wanted to, but then quickly flipped into Ohio State's direction. They win 34-23. A little drama late. What did you think of the game, Brady?
Well, that first drive, Riley Leonard looked great. I was like, oh, wow, this could actually be a game. But end all be all, the $20 million roster that Ohio State has was too much for him. And it's honestly kind of what I expected. Ohio State has had by far the most talented roster all season, and that's just what you were going to get. I think, honestly, the final score was a little closer than the game indicated, just with that score later in the game. But obviously, they had missed the field goal late as well, so I guess it could have been even closer. But yeah, it was a solid game. It could have been worse, could have been better.
What did you think, Phil?
Yeah, I think Brady hit the nail on the head, right? I mean, Ohio State was in control, it seemed like, the whole game. Even though Notre Dame kept it interesting, at least, till pretty much the very end, it never really felt like they were really going to come back. But I do have a question that kind of came to my head after that first drive. We all know Riley Leonard is not an NFL caliber quarterback. Is he an NFL caliber Taysom Hill? I mean, that first drive, and Igo, you didn't see it, so maybe it's you can answer if you want, but maybe I'm more directing this question to Brady. I don't know if he's quite that good, but I mean, hell, quarterback power, and it was working.
Yeah, he can
answer, Brady.
He can run the ball. I'm not sure exactly what he can do. I mean,
I just think he's
trying to catch a pass or something like that, or trying to put him on special teams.
I don't think he's fast enough is a problem. Because Taysom Hill is, what, a 4.4 guy?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, but he can run that ball. That's no joke. It killed him on the first possession. I think I had bet over 25 rushing yards, and he had, I think, 34 on the first drive, or maybe the first two drives. I don't know.
No, it was 34 on the first. I had a friend who parlayed Riley Leonard anytime touchdown and like 35 rushing yards. By the end of the first drive, he was 1 yard from hitting it.
He finished the game with 17 carries, 40 net yards. Now, some of that was sacks, but that would have been brutal to lose that bet after.
Well, he was all pumped up, and then I reminded him because we were watching the game together. I was like, you do realize that in college football, a sack is negative rushing yards to the quarterback, not negative team passing yards to the quarterback. And he's like, oh, no, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, I don't make the rules. I'm just telling you what they are. And he's like, oh, this stinks.
Yeah, I like watching him. His numbers: 22 of 31, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like, looks better than how it looked watching it. It was painful to watch them try to drop back and pass the football. And now Ohio State's got an elite secondary, but I don't know. It's something about like I don't remember him being that bad of a passer at Duke, but maybe I just didn't watch him enough, Philip. You watched him a lot more than I did at Duke. Was he? I know he was always a run-first quarterback, but was he always a subpar passer as well?
The thing that helped him at Duke, and he wasn't a great passer. No, he didn't throw on the run well, despite being a pretty mobile quarterback, which was weird. He had some accuracy issues down the field, but at Duke, they had a lot more time to throw the football. Just ACC defensive linemen are not Big Ten defensive linemen, and they, knowing that he didn't have the most deep ball accuracy, they kind of ran a West Coast-ish offense. It was kind of a combination of a West Coast and like a spread pro-style type offense. And they had a lot of mesh concepts, a lot of spacing concepts and stuff where he could catch the ball, get it out quick. And as long as he can catch and step into the throw, I mean, he's a Division I college quarterback, right? He's not going to miss those. So Duke's receivers are also a little faster than a lot of the defensive backs that they were facing in the ACC a year ago. And so, yeah, he was solid, but then when they played superior competition, he really struggled. Last night, he played superior competition.
Couple things on the Ohio State front. Obviously Ryan Day, much maligned after losing to Michigan again, but wins a national championship. I saw some people arguing that it's a hollow national championship because they lost to Michigan. I'm like, come on, man. They won the national championship. It is not hollow. They had the most talented team, and I get it. Money can buy a lot of talent, but they still came together when it mattered most. They beat really good teams on the way to the championship. They did not have an easy path. Obviously, going through Tennessee in the first round, the way they took care of Tennessee kind of let me know they were for real. The revenge on Oregon, where they look like the best team in college football, and then obviously, getting through Texas as well. So they earned it, and this is why I think it's a good thing we have an expanded college football playoff, Brady, because otherwise, if this was last year, 4-team playoff, they would not have been in.
Yeah, hearing you run those teams back that they played, they might have had the hardest schedule
in the playoff.
Out of any team, which is super impressive. And it's just, like I said, the $20 million roster is unbelievable. From quarterback to third-string running back, it was hard to stop anything that they did. But I'm not surprised, honestly, they won.
Elite talent. Shores has entered the chat, gentlemen. Feels great to be king. How about that Natty Boys, BOIS? 6 bottles of champagne deep last night got me feeling under the weather. So he's enjoying it. Congrats, Shores. And look, we've had the Ohio State fan discussion. There aren't many like bandwagon Ohio State fans. You're an Ohio State fan if you're from Ohio or have a connection there. So congrats. I know some who are a little bit annoying, and quite honestly, I was pulling for the epic collapse. I did have Ohio State. I live bet Ohio State -3.5 after the Notre Dame touchdown on the drive to Ronnie's because I was like, this is too easy. But I would have forfeited that money just to see the epic collapse of the Ohio State. So I was pulling for the collapse at the end. There was some criticism on the decision by Notre Dame's coach, Marcus Freeman, to kick the field goal. I actually agreed with that at the time because what are their odds of making 4th and goal from the 9 with that offense? And, like, I get it, you need 2 scores, but you miss the kick. Looks kind of silly, but if you make it, your percentages of needing 13, which, obviously is 2 touchdowns versus getting 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions on top of the touchdowns are pretty long. So I didn't hate the call. I know some were questioning it, Brady.
Yeah, we were actually walking out of Kickback Jacks, and I said I actually like the call, so I'm going to actually be on your side. And I think it was the right call. Go ahead and try and you drove down the field. Go ahead and try to get the points, and then
he just missed the kick.
Try to live off the little momentum that you got there by scoring points. I mean, 4th and 9. Let's be honest. There's not many college teams making that especially on the championship level. So,
what did you think of that, Philip? Were you on the go for it or kick it side?
At first, I was kind of like, what are they doing? It's 16. And then, when I really thought about it, and now hindsight's 20/20, right? But let's just hypothetically say you make it. Okay, now you're down 13. You did force a punt, and you did go down and score. Well, that would have made it 6. You kicked off with 4:11 to play in the ballgame with 3 timeouts. Yeah. Okay, now your defense played like crap, but you could have still let up a first down, and
Still
with using your timeout, still had an opportunity, maybe even if you let up 2 first downs, to still get the ball back with around 2 minutes left in the game, and I would much rather be down 6 than down 8. So, yeah, it's tough, and, if you go for it, you get it, and I think had they been inside the 5, they probably would have went for it. Then, like you said, you still don't necessarily get both 2s, so you might need that field goal anyways. Now, it is more ideal to only need a field goal when there's 5 seconds left in the game as opposed to taking it early and then having to score the touchdowns late. But, yeah, I mean, looking at how the rest of the game played out, if you'd have made the field goal and you would have, not allowed a however long drive there on the last drive of the game, you would have got the ball back with 2.5 minutes to play. Actually, if you'd used all 4 timeouts and not let up any first downs, could have got it back with over 3 minutes to play and only needed a touchdown and an extra point. So, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You got to have faith in your defense, and defense forced 1 punt last night. 1.
Yeah, that was disappointing, especially for a Marcus Freeman coach team. The comment from Ryan says you could tell Ryan Day had been in big games and Freeman not. Man, how the narrative changes with 1 win. Because everybody thought Brian Day couldn't win a big game. Ryan adds he's going to be a good coach with more experience down the line. Yeah, Marcus Freeman's still only 39 years old. Really bright future. I do want to give credit to Will Howard. I thought he played tremendous and honestly did not think he was that good until I started watching this playoff, and he just made play after play. So you got to give credit to Will Howard. He was big time last night. I did not love the call. The one thing on Notre Dame's side I did not love was third and 11, 3rd and 9, all-out blitz on that final series.
11, yeah.
Yeah, 3rd and 11. Jeremiah Smith, one-on-one coverage. We were talking, watching the game. We were like, all right, do you run or pass here? And Ronnie, to his credit, was like, all right, if they're going to single coverage Jeremiah Smith, you just throw it up to him. And that is exactly what happened. He just ran right by the corner. I mean, he didn't put a move on, so, like, hindsight again, 2020, but I was looking for them to be a little more conservative there. They go all out blitz and give up the big pass play.
Yeah, hypothetically, he's a freshman, correct?
Yeah, Jeremiah.
Hypothetically, where would he go this year if he was able to enter the draft?
Gosh,
top 7, easy.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. Based off upside potential, top 10.
Yeah, he's an absolute beast, and that was just a simple play call. He can beat any corner in the nation, and that was just so simple. Play him one-on-one, and some of the all-out blitzes confuse me sometimes because why don't you just drop back and kind of play a conservative, and then just never works out, it seems.
Okay, I have a question for you guys because I was kind of thinking this. I didn't totally hate the all-out blitz, but with it being 11, I would have been okay with a softer man as opposed to press.
Yeah.
Would y'all be more okay with that, or you guys still know true zero blitz in that situation?
I mean, I don't love zero blitz because you just open it up. Even if you go a little soft man with a guy like Smith, and I don't, we talked about going to the game. Notre Dame didn't have the corners to play man coverage, and so that was my concern. I would have liked more there. All right, you send an extra blitzer or two. Maybe send 5 or 6 instead of 7.
Yeah,
I don't know.
agree.
But I understand your point too. It's just Howard made the right decision. All right, they're going to single cover Jeremiah Smith, throw it up, easy pitch and catch.
Yeah,
So.
we need to ask Logan if that was probably a hot route or a check. I'm going to ask him about that Thursday.
Yeah,
So I'm guessing that just a 9 route was not the initial call.
the
out of
initial
huddle
read.
there.
Yeah, that's one of those you just see it out there and you're like, going to take a shot with our 5-star number 1 overall recruit, and he made the play. So Ohio State wins it. Congrats to the Buckeyes, 34-23. I've already seen on Bucknuts, the 24/7 Sports Ohio State site, they're ready to sign Ryan Day to a lifetime extension. So
Of course they are.
what a difference a month makes. As they lose to Michigan, everybody wanted to fire him. Now they're ready to sign him to a lifetime deal. All right, so there's your national championship game recap. We'll get a break in. We'll come back. We'll switch gears. It's now officially college hoops taking center stage because college football is over. We'll transition into that. So we've got a Kentucky and a Duke fan here. We'll get their take on their teams. And we'll also talk East Carolina Tulsa. The Pirates are going for the rare 2-game road conference sweep. We'll break that down tonight. This is Hoist the Colors.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern Living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Sawyer's Fun Park in Winterville is now open. With over 40,000 square feet of family fun, daily money-saving deals, and a full-service restaurant, Sawyer's Fun Park is guaranteed to have something the whole family will love. Test your ninja skills on our 2-story obstacle course or head over to one of our 5 rock walls and race your friends to the top. And when you've worked up an appetite in our laser tag arena or our one-of-a-kind ropes course, grab a table over at the restaurant and try our world-famous Southern Monster Fries. Reserve your spot today at SawyersFunPark.com and come join in on the fun.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
We're live with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday, January 21st edition of the show. We had a few questions I want to get to. Chuck says, speaking of college football playoff, who are some of the top non-Power 5 teams in the running for the at-large playoff spot for the 2025 season? I'm going to be honest, Chuck, no idea. As somebody who covers the sport closely, there's so much roster turnover from year to year. I would venture to say the favorite will be Boise State, even though they are losing Ashton Jeanty. If you look at the early 25 odds, the top two teams are Boise State and UNLV. How much of that is just based on this past year? So we'll circle back and have that discussion. Last summer we did like a whole conference-by-conference breakdown. We'll do that again, Chuck, so appreciate the question. Bobby Harwood says Notre Dame got torched playing man all game long on third downs. Ohio State capitalized third and medium after third and medium, allowed Howard to pick up first downs with his feet. Yeah, they could not get off the field on third down and just really struggled. So good observation from Bobby there. All right, guys, college hoops. Let's get into it. We will talk ECU here in a minute, but let's look from a national perspective. I'm going to be honest, like as a guy who is fully invested in covering East Carolina, you know, we dive so much into recruiting in December and January. I'm more of a college football fan as a whole, and more of kind of honestly like a baseball fan than basketball as a national landscape perspective. You guys follow it more than I do. Philip watches Duke. Brady watches Kentucky. So you guys naturally see a lot more college hoops than I am. So give me the rundown. Who wants to start? Philip or Brady on like what's it looking like from a national perspective? And feel free to include your team.
I'll let Philip go first.
All right, yeah. You know, from a national perspective right now, we're seeing, I think, the same thing at the college basketball level that we're seeing at the college football level, where it used to feel like there's 8 to 10 teams that can win a national championship, and now we're up to 20. You know, whereas in college football, it used to be 3, and now it's 8.
Basically the entire SEC.
That's what I was about to say. The entire SEC, right? I mean, Auburn's obviously Auburn. Kentucky literally reloaded their whole roster. We'll let Brady talk about that more here in a second. Mississippi State, I don't think is quite to the level of these other teams, but they're a backdoor contender. Alabama's really good. And then you can never sleep on the Big 12. Yeah, Kansas has struggled a little bit here out of the gate, but that is a tough, deep basketball conference. Iowa State, you could make an argument as the best team in the country. They did just lose to West Virginia, but Morgantown's a tough place to win. We all know that. It's been that way since the days of the Big East.
Shout out Javon Small.
There you go. He's having a heck of a year. So, you know, when you look at this thing right now, I mean, I think the winner will come from a power conference. And, yes, I'm considering the Big East as a power conference because I think you can never count Shaka Smart out in the tournament, and that Marquette team is very good. They escaped a tough one at DePaul last week that they should have never been in a game with the Blue Demons, who are, I think, is probably the worst team in the Big East by far. But, hey, that's Big East basketball. It's any power conference. Anybody can win on any given night. And, you know, so I think that the tournament champion will come from the SEC, the Big 12, the Big East, or Duke, probably. You know, Gonzaga's not quite the Gonzaga of old. Drake's kind of that Cinderella mid-major. They started the year 13-0. You know, you kind of have one every year. It was Murray State when Ja Morant was there. You know, it's been Loyola Chicago in the past. So they're kind of the fun team to keep an eye on out of the Missouri Valley Conference. And, yeah, I'm going to start paying attention a little more now on football as ever. Because I'll be honest with you, I don't know as much about roster construction as I should, but I do know, you know, kind of who's been beaten up on who.
8 of the top 20 in the net are in the SEC, Brady. Obviously, that includes Kentucky. They're 11th, 14-4 right now against Division I competition. So, your take on the Wildcats and the SEC, what has stood out to you?
Mark Pope is absolutely blown expectations out of the water. I mean,
Told you it was a good hire.
Yeah, I did not think that he was going to be this great for this team, and he's an even better human. Just all the stuff you see on social media is not a PR stunt. That is one excellent human, and I believe the Cats have a good chance. I mean, it's honestly incredible that he didn't have a roster 5 months ago, and he recruited everybody. He didn't have a single player from the turnover from John Calipari leaving. Speaking of John Calipari, he is 0-5.
I was about to say.
To start SEC play, 0-5. I couldn't tell you the last time that John Calipari was 0-5. But the SEC is absolutely loaded this year. It's every Tuesday night there's competition in the SEC. I believe there is a ranked. I believe Tennessee plays Mississippi State tonight, which is another ranked SEC matchup. It's
correct.
It's every weeknight, not every weeknight, but once a week there is great competition. And I believe 19 out of 25 ranked teams last week lost this week. Something around that number. And so it was a crazy week. AP poll comes out in about 25 minutes, so there will be some major shakeup.
No, today's Tuesday.
Oh, it came out yesterday. Why did I guess yesterday threw me off. But yeah, I guess the major shakeup there was already. But yeah, the SEC is loaded. And I'm going to have to give Philip some credit here. Cooper Flagg has looked unbelievable the past few weeks. 42 points. Absolutely incredible showing.
It's hard for a guy like that to fully live up to the hype, but I feel like he has.
Yeah, because I'm a full-blown Duke hater. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you have to be.
Yeah, there's no other choice, and he has looked incredible. I was obviously after the Kentucky game, first game of the year, I was giving him some crap, but he's looked incredible. He is definitely the number one overall pick, and then the two guards from Rutgers will list right after him in the draft.
We mentioned West Virginia earlier. Javon Small, he is averaging 19.8 points per game, 5.2 rebounds, 5.2 assists per game. They just beat, Iowa State, who was number 2 nationally. So he's having a heck of a season. Ezra Asar had not been having that good of a season, ECU transfer. He played great the other night, though. They beat BYU at home in overtime, 73-72. He's averaging 11 points, 5 rebounds. Brandon Johnson, tough year. Miami is awful. Obviously, Jim Larinaga retiring in the middle of the season. Never a great thing. He's basically like, all right, this team's not very good. I'm out. Miami is 4-14. Brandon Johnson is averaging 8 points and 7 rebounds per game, which is pretty good, but his minutes are down. His 3-point percentage is way down. So that's one. Honestly, he may have been better off staying at ECU. Think about if you had Brandon Johnson and C.J. Walker playing off each other in the paint. That would be pretty exciting.
It'd be weird because you'd have 2 fours.
Yeah. But you could spread the floor with one and use the other in the paint.
I agree. I would say, well, hell, we don't start a 5 anyway. So what am I saying? I was going to say, you wouldn't start a 5. We don't. I'm stupid.
Sierra
we don't start a
Malanga.
5 anyway. So I'm just going to quit talking.
I honestly, for a bigger guy, I feel like C.J. Walker spreads the floor all right.
Yeah. I mean, he can step out and shoot. Like the last game against Wichita, they regard him Quincy Ballard, who's like a paint player. And C.J. would strategically, by the coaching staffs, he would go to the three-point line and make him play on the perimeter, and he went 3 for 3 from three-point range, I believe, or around there. So he can shoot a little bit. He's just not as consistent as BJ.
Yeah, I believe I sent out a tweet. C.J. Walker has looked absolutely incredible.
He's been awesome, man.
These past few games. He is just an athletic specimen, to be honest. He's fun to watch for this ECU team. Him and RJ make ECU basketball pretty enjoyable, honestly.
I didn't know, I know that they paid him a lot in NIL to come here, and I'm going to be honest, I was questioning that at first because of his background. I knew he was talented, but he had been injury prone. And thus far, man, he's been worth it. He's been incredible. Him and RJ and Jordan Riley have been good. I mean, obviously, you still want better shooting from the entire team, but without C.J. Walker, this team would be even pretty brutal spot right now. All All right, let's talk. We'll take a break here in a minute. Philip, have you seen the line? Now, I know you hadn't pre-show.
No, I haven't looked at it.
All right.
You told me you were going to ask me on air, so.
ECU Tulsa on the road. What do you think the line is for this game?
Remind me what Tulsa did in their last game.
Tulsa in their last game. That is a great question. I am looking it up as we speak.
I mean, I kind of know they're a middle of the pack team.
Tulsa basketball in their last game lost at South Florida 63-56. Now, before that, they beat Charlotte at home 69-63, and they went on the road and beat UTSA 82-77. So they're coming off a loss, but they're 2-1 in their last 3.
Tulsa's favored by 2.5.
Have you seen the line?
I have seen the line.
The latest line, East Carolina is a 5-point favorite.
Oh,
wow. On the road.
I saw -3.5 this morning.
It was at 3.5 this morning. It has since shot up. The Sharps are on the Pirates.
Because I would go based off the way, ECU's played with some teams that are, they played at Memphis, played with North Texas for 37 minutes. And if it was a neutral site game, I would 100% favor ECU. Obviously in Greenville, I would probably have it about 5. But, when you give 3 points to the home team off of what a neutral site would be, that's why I was thinking probably 2 in favor of the Golden Hurricane. But, wow, you're telling me that the Pirates, based off this, will be favored by 8 on a neutral floor and 11 at home?
You are correct. Now, Liam's best bets. I came across this on Twitter. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I personally will never, ever bet on East Carolina basketball under any circumstance, especially on the road. And I can't by letter of law. I'm not allowed to bet on ECU.
And I would assume Liam's best bets has very little East Carolina basketball knowledge. So
Liam's best bets. This is what he tweeted. This line is blasphemous as ECU is going up against a Tulsa squad that has greatly benefited, and he's on ECU's side here, has greatly benefited from facing one of the weakest schedules in the FBS. I didn't even know that was a thing in basketball. He says ranked 353rd in strength of schedule on KenPom. Tons of juice, obviously, with the line, so for those who want shorter odds, he gives another game. But he says Tulsa has 2 wins outside of the KenPom top 300. They are 5-10 in their last 15 games with their wins coming against Mississippi Valley State, an NAIA team, Detroit Mercy, UTSA, and Charlotte. All these teams are bad in KenPom. He says Tulsa has looked better recently, but I'm going with East Carolina as their entire body of work indicates this is a much better team, and they performed well in their recent conference road games, losing by 2 as 12.5-point dogs at Memphis and winning at Wichita State outright as 3.5-point dogs. So Liam is all on the Pirates. My concern is the travel, Philip.
Yeah, so first off, why is he hating on Mississippi Valley State? They've won twice as many games already this year than they did all of last year. They've won 2 games. Look at them.
They are on the rise.
They are on the rise. They only won one
Still
last year. It took till like the second to last week of the season for them to win one. Yeah, the travel's weird. We've said it. It worries me. It does. And I'm not saying East Carolina's not going to win the game. But I also will say this team this year has kind of played to their competition.
They 100% have.
I mean, you hit a couple more threes against South Carolina. You beat South Carolina. You go to Memphis and hang on the road with a top 20 team at the FedEx Forum. You lose to North Alabama. You lose to Gardner-Webb. So Tulsa's crappy. I have a bad feeling we're going to play crappy. I ain't saying we're going to lose, but I think we're going to play crappy.
When you can't shoot consistently, they shot well versus Wichita, but when you can't shoot consistently, you can lose to anybody on any given night because a lot of your game is predicated on getting to the free throw line and on the other team not making shots. If Tulsa makes shots and ECU does not, they could easily lose this game.
Here's my thing. If we're not going to be able to shoot the dang ball, let's put Cal Richard, Sierra Malonga, and Reed Kaysen all on the floor together, and let's just feed the paint, baby. I want 62 points in the paint in one night.
Post up the entire game.
Feed the low block. Why not? You can't shoot? Dunk.
I've heard worse ideas.
That was a pretty bad
Not
idea.
much worse, but yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't think you've heard worse ideas.
Tulsa is 296 in the net. ECU 188. What do you think? Brady, going back to your home country, I'm surprised you're not heading back to cover this game.
Yeah. I don't know. I listened to I think it was either Thursday or Friday's show that you guys were worried about the travel. Now, kind of looking back at it, I don't know if I'm as worried about it because I saw your guys' point. I definitely see the point, but a full day to relax, I feel like they'll be fine. I'm kind of riding with Liam. Liam might have just
Brady
convinced
is riding with Liam.
He might have just convinced me to bet ECU on the spread. But I could definitely see some sloppy play. That is a given. So
we'll see what happens tonight. 8:00 tip-off Eastern Time, 7 Central, out in Tulsa. So it'll be a late night watching and covering the game.
I will say this: if ECU wins, they win by 12. If they cover, they win by 12.
Yeah.
I don't see them winning by like 6 or 7. They either blow them out, lead it wire to wire, or they don't win, or they win on like a buzzer beater again.
This is a game you would like to control instead of having to hit a buzzer beater. All right, we'll get a break in. When we come back, Lane's going to be happy because we're talking ECU baseball. We're going to discuss our look at the roster. We'll discuss the 2025 ECU baseball team media day next Monday. We'll get into that and more. This is Hoist the Colors.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Matey!
Back to the show with Steve and I go on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. HTC on a Tuesday. We talked Pirate Hoops. We talked National Championship. We talked college basketball as a whole. We're only less than 3 weeks away? I guess we're a little over 3 weeks away from first pitch. East Carolina baseball. George Mason rolls into town. The Patriots. Friday, February 14th. Valentine's Day. The ladies are happy about this one. Opening day on Valentine's Day. There is no better combination.
So here's what works out about this. If your husband does not care, or your boyfriend or whatever, is not a baseball fan, please make all your reservations at like 6:30, because the game starts at 4. So the people who have to work, go, attend the game can still do Valentine's dinner. It's just going to have to be at 7:30 or 8. There's plenty of time to get both in. So if you're not a baseball fan, please schedule for 6 o'clock. Let everybody who is a baseball fan schedule for 8 o'clock, and now it splits Valentine's Day up, and it's perfect, and everybody's happy.
You got it. The other plan is to, if you're a seasoned vet, don't get reservations on Valentine's Day. Celebrate it another day, which is what I'm doing with the wife. Also, if your girlfriend or wife wants to spend Valentine's Day at the baseball game, put a ring on it.
She is the one.
She is the one.
She is the one.
That is for sure. All right, especially when it's mid-February and 30 degrees outside, not a traditional spring baseball game. What we're going to do, guys, to learn this ECU baseball team, which has 30-plus new players, is we're going to go down the roster one by one, tell you a little bit about each of these guys so we kind of know what to expect. We're going to go numerical order to talk about some baseball. Today we're going to do 2 gentlemen. Keenan Bowman is up first as he is number 0. Keenan Bowman was on the team last year. He did not play. He is listed at 6 foot. I don't know if these height and weights are updated because I'm pretty sure they haven't changed since last year. But he is listed as 6 foot, 177 pounds. He looks bigger than that when I've seen him in person. He is from Charlotte, North Carolina. He played his final year of prep ball at Legion Collegiate Academy. Now, Keenan Bowman, you're like, all right, what is this guy? Is he going to play this year? I recently wrote an article on Hoist the Colors titled ECU Baseball, Returning Players Who Could Be Looking at a Breakout Year in 2025. First on that list, because I was also writing it in numerical order, was Keenan Bowman. Keenan Bowman, again redshirted. He played for the Bethesda Big Train of the Cal Ripken League over the summer, once the home of Alec Burleson, who barely played as a freshman, as a position player, I should add. He pitched a lot. He had a good year. Alec Burleson did. Now, Keenan Bowman did not have as good of a year as Burleson years ago, but he did hit .295, including postseason play, 3 doubles, a triple, 4 homers. The one thing that stood out to me, he walked 17 times compared to 16 strikeouts and 89 plate appearances. He walked more than he struck out. He walked nearly 20% of the time. That usually lends itself to a good eye at the plate. Or he could have just been facing really terrible pitching. I don't know. It was not there. But I'm encouraged by the numbers. Keenan Bowman, a candidate to play infield and outfield. He played some middle infield last year. He played some outfield in the fall. So right-handed bat, Brady, I think he could make an impact somewhere.
Yeah, talking to you before the show, you said we needed some more right-handed pop. And from what the numbers sound, it sounds like he could be a big swing or miss guy, kind of with the strikeouts. Strikeouts a little not alarming because we haven't even started the season, but a little high. And then the 4 homers, I'm not exactly sure how many games they played throughout the summer.
Not a ton, but I mean, pretty good ratio.
4 homers seems like a solid number.
What do you got, Philip? What are your thoughts on Keenan Bowman?
I'm going to sound like a broken record throughout the season, or throughout these next 31 days, 24 days, whatever the heck it is.
Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of infielders on this roster, Keenan Bowman being one of them, that they will either emerge as like what I'm going to say the 4th or 5th, because I'm excluding first base, kind of a different position, or we will already be talking in mid-March how they're going to hit the portal at the end of the year. Keenan Bowman could very easily be a rotational piece in the infield, or he could very easily be passed up by someone else, and that's not a knock on Keenan. That's talking about the depth of this roster. Yeah, he did get invited to play prep ball. Why did they redshirt him last year, people might ask. They had to redshirt a lot of guys. They ended up having a lot more transfers than they expected. You can only have so many guys on the roster, and you have to redshirt. He's not the only one. They were very high on him in practice. He had a good fall. Like I said, pretty good plate discipline. Be nice to have a right-handed bat. He's a utility guy, can kind of play everywhere. So I don't know what to expect from him. I've heard good things. Scooter seemed to really like him last year, from talking to the people that were there at practice every day, talking to the managers and stuff. They were high on his talent, said he's a good kid, hard worker. If he walks a lot, we know that will be a good thing for Coach Godwin, as long as he can also bunt. If you can walk and bunt, you can play.
And he's pretty athletic, so I think he ran a little bit as well in the summer as far as stolen bases. So, again, he played some center field in scrimmages. Bless you, Brady.
Thank you.
And so I think he can play all over. Maybe a utility guy. Right-handed bat again, maybe provide some value. So Keenan Bowman, number 1 in your hearts, number 0 on the roster. All right, number 1 on the roster is Dixon Williams. If there's one player we know on this roster, it is Dixon Williams. He is number 1 in your heart and number 1 on the roster. From Greenville, from D.H. Conley, going into his junior season, just an absolute mockery. All conference preseason not included. Don't know how that happened with the American Athletic Conference. Dixon Williams last season hit .308, hit 11 doubles, 9 home runs, 43 RBI, 490 slug, 25 walks, good number against 28 strikeouts. That's a great ratio. 406 for on base percentage. Also stole 5 bases. Also had 5 sacrifice bunts. So Dixon Williams, all-around player. The best thing about Dixon is he's a team guy, barely played as a freshman. You'll hear that as a theme a lot to this program. Huge breakout year last year. A left-handed stick, really came into his own, played with confidence. I think he's going to be a team leader this year, and we'll see where he ends up playing, Brady. That's kind of the big question.
Yeah, it looks like he got most of the starts at third base last season with 60 starts, with most of them coming at third base. In AAC officials, if you are listening, I would love to have a chat, because how are you the number 6 AAC prospect for the 2025 MLB draft, but you're left off the all preseason list? I'm not sure that adds up, whoever's doing these rankings, but Dixon is poised for a breakout season, and he very well, if he has a season like he did last year, he very well is going to be drafted. Obviously, MLB draft is not like others, but he has a good chance to play somewhere else after this season. I could see him playing two more, but he very well could have a chance.
A lot of it comes down to what is his position, because he can hit. I mean, there's zero doubt about that, Phillip. And it looks like Alex Boucher may end up playing shortstop. The Old Dominion transfer, we'll get into him later. But where do you think Dixon best fits in this season?
I like Dixon at second. He played second at Conley. I thought he looked a little more comfortable there in the absence of Starr last year. I think Starr missed a week-ish. And he's a solid third baseman. The one complaint I have with Dixon at third is when the opposing team bunts and he has to charge and barehand and the shoulder drops, he tends to sail it over the first baseman's head. That was kind of my one complaint about him on the left side of the infield. I think Boucher has a little bit of a stronger arm, therefore would be ahead of him at short. Now, I'm not going to act like I've seen Boucher play a lot, but I've seen him play more than most of the other transfers coming in, obviously, with him being at Old Dominion. We interviewed Dixon last year when he played his first game at second for the year when Starr was out. We asked him where he felt more comfortable. He said, either place is fine. He goes, but this was where I came in as a second baseman. And I don't think that's him knocking on playing third. I think Dixon, if we stuck him at catcher, he'd find a way to play it. He's a hard-nosed kid. He loves the game, but I think second is his home.
Yeah, when I was out in the fall, he was playing a lot of second. He did play some shortstop along with Boucher. They kind of split those duties, and obviously he can play third. And he played some outfield as well. So I think he's a guy with a lot of roster flexibility that you can move him around to kind of fit the lineup, so to speak. So looking forward to seeing. And Dixon, too, if he can prove he can play a bunch of spots in college, I think that helps his value with the draft. All right, there are your first 2 ECU baseball players, number 0, Keenan Bowman, number 1, Dixon Williams. Tomorrow, in addition to having Caden Hauser on the show, we are going to look at least Roger Vergara, number 2, JUCO transfer infielder, and we'll try to get to number 3, outfielder Davin Whitaker, another redshirt freshman who is kind of reminiscent of JJC, Jacob Jenkins Cowart, in some ways. All right, let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show after this. Hoist the colors on a Tuesday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed, meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
This holiday season, get the gift you really want at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Drive a new Corolla, just $229 a month, or a new Tacoma, only $329 a month during the holiday trade-up at Greenville Toyota.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
Hey, on the mountain we've got a saying. Get off your...
Show off.
Mountain Dew.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves tiebreakers.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
Unwrap a new Toyota for the holidays at Greenville Toyota. It's our holiday trade-up. Get a new Camry, $269 a month, or a new RAV4, $329 a month. Trade up and save at Greenville Toyota.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The Pirates play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Stephen Igo.
Yes! That was so good!
On 94.3, The Game.
Welcome back in. Final segment, Hoist the Colors on a Tuesday. Brady Thomas in studio along with Philip Pilkington producing the program. Got a few minutes left. Brady is a Dallas Cowboys fan for some reason. He is from the area originally, Oklahoma, so I give him a break. First off, who y'all going to hire as head coach?
I'm not sure, and I'm not sure I want to know. I'm not. I think I was a little too excited when Mike McCarthy left, because to be honest, I don't think he's that bad of a coach, and the list is getting slim with Ben Johnson going to the Bears.
There's just not a lot of sexy names out there.
No, Kellen Moore, I'm not real sure about.
They hated him when he was the OC at the end. So,
and then Robert Salah looks like he's going to be a favorite to be. I'm not so sure about him either. He's a defensive-minded guy, and I'm not sure that's what Dak Prescott needs.
Yeah, I saw somebody arguing the other day. They've had all offensive-minded coaches now with Garrett and McCarthy, so maybe they need to go in a different direction.
Yeah, maybe. And then Brian Schottenheimer is a favorite as well, which is a name I'm not sure I want to see.
Some Marty Schottenheimer's kid?
Yeah, I think so.
I believe so.
Yeah. That's like Vance Joseph, the Denver Broncos DC, who was the failed Denver Broncos head coach. He's interviewing for a bunch of jobs. It just, I don't know. The NFL head coaching thing, a lot of these names just get recycled, and there's not a lot of great names out there. But we'll see.
There's a lot of people that are scared to leave too, and scared to actually step up. So I'll be interested to see. Leslie Frazier got interviewed. I'm not sure how he is, to be honest. So I guess we'll see.
Technically, the guy who's North Carolina's head football coach has not signed a contract yet. What are your thoughts on that?
Supposedly, I would love that. Supposedly, but according to his girlfriend, they are overtly
According to his girlfriend.
they're overtly dedicated to UNC football.
Well, you would know because I think you and his girlfriend are about the same age, so you guys are peers.
Yeah, I just saw her Instagram post, so we'll see.
We got about 50 seconds left in the show. Eagles, Commanders, NFC Championship. How does that make you feel?
Not good. Not good. We have the longest NFC drought, I believe, for a NFC Championship game appearance. I think the Commanders had the longest drought, and now they are headed to the championship game. And
if you had to pick one to win, who would you
Commanders,
pick?
please.
Yeah.
I do not want to see Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl. If it did not snow on Saturday, the Rams would have won.
I agree with that. And, yeah, I mean, it'll be a fun game, but I'm not too excited about seeing the Eagles outside of seeing Saquon possibly again in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me the Chiefs.
Yeah. Gosh, please don't do that. Just do not give me another Chiefs-Eagles Super Bowl. I'll pass on that. All right, we're out of time.
To pull for.
Yeah, need somebody to pull for sure. Brady, appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Yep. Philip, thanks as
fun.
always for holding it down. We will be back tomorrow. Wednesday's edition of the show, we're going to have Caton Hauser in studio, ECU quarterback. We'll catch up with QB1, see what's going on with his offseason, and talk more. We'll continue our rundown of the ECU baseball roster as well. So we'll see you then Wednesday, 12 noon.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things